Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ivan Barron. I am here with Bob Lesser. Bob Lesser is an expert on new school development, both charter school and district schools. But these are basically entrepreneurial startup schools. And this video blog is to discuss the issue of what it takes to be a successful education entrepreneur, someone with the skills to start up a new school organization. And Bob is an expert in having both worked with many school entrepreneurs looking to start new schools in New York City, and also developing plans himself with other education entrepreneurs to launch schools. So thanks for joining us.
Good to be here.
Good. Bob, in your experience, what is it that you've seen that are the qualities that give someone the expertise to successfully launch a new school venture?
Sure. I'd say there are a couple of key things. One is certainly expertise in the field of education. So I think these are all individuals who have significant expertise working in schools, both good and bad schools, successful and failing schools, working with a range of students, a range of adults, so that they really understand what it takes to run a successful school. So that would be number one, that sort of content expertise in the education sector. Number two is that, I think the sort of the management skills and the leadership skills required to mobilize a group of people toward a mission of creating a new school, and being able to sort of do all of the things required for a startup. I think really key to that is putting together a team that complements each other, and understanding what skills that entrepreneur has and does not have, and going and finding people to complement that entrepreneur's skill set, so that on that team is sort of every piece of expertise and resource needed to open a new school. I think those are really the kind of two key areas that are needed in the field of new school startup.
Good. So what I hear you saying is that here, part of it is actual content knowledge of the discipline of education, for one, that they must have. And number two is also knowledge of the skill sets required to be an effective leader, to manage or mobilize groups of people into an organization.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing is typically that our strongest new school entrepreneurs are folks that have been in education for more than 5 years and less than 10 years. And so these are folks that have deep enough experience to know the work well, but are also not so deeply ingrained in the sort of old ways of thinking that they can't bring some innovation to the work. And then again, on the other side of that, is the ability to basically not do everything themselves, but to know how to to bring on the right team, the right group of people, be able to work with that team to motivate those people to execute on the mission.
That's great. Let's talk a little bit more about, you said, different ways of thinking. You talked about some folks who maybe been in education sometimes too long actually get fixed on a specific way of thinking about education. How would you describe the way that ideal education entrepreneurs think that is different from people who say have a tremendous amount of experience within the field of education and or management, but who would not make good education entrepreneurs in a startup environment?
Sure. Well, I think one key thing you need is fire in the belly, and that's that sort of real passion to start something new, to start something that is going to be successful where others have failed, and so you need the sort of that energy and that drive to really be able to engage in a new school enterprise. And then also, you need some newness of thinking, and you need, this sort of, the willingness and the ability to seek, what is working in the education sector that may not be, traditionally what is in place now, to be able to really to bring in some of these outside resources, leverage outside resources that may not even be from the education field, but may be from the private sector, maybe from the nonprofit sector, maybe from the youth development sector more broadly. So, sort of people that are really able to, think in terms of networks and networking. People that are able to think in terms of social capital and bring in resources from the larger communities that their schools are going to exist in. And so, I think it's that mindset of a more sort of interconnected, sort of digital age, and that kind of way of network thinking that not everyone has, but some of these. These younger folks do have.